commitment to adequately pay for education in Washington and improve the quality of the state's education system. The group is sending copies of the report to parents, educators, and policymakers during the first week of the 2011 legislature. This is OPB News.
Support for NPR comes from the Annie E. Casey Foundation, promoting lifelong family connections for children and youth in foster care. On the web at aecf.org.
News Talk of the Nation. I'm Mary Louise Kelly in Washington. Neil Conan is away. President Obama is in the middle of his term, and he finds himself at a crossroads. After a grueling election in November, his party suffered major losses, including the majority in the House of Representatives. The economy has grown a little in fits and spurts, and yet unemployment continues to hobble many, and then overseas. Mr. Obama is grappling with two wars, a growing challenge from China, and the nuclear ambitions of countries like Iran and North Korea. Back home, this week's rampage in Arizona marks the latest unexpected tragedy he's been forced to deal with. Well, with all this on his plate, there are plenty of people who would like to be helpful and offer advice. On the op-ed pages and on political talk shows, there's a chorus of would-be counselors telling Mr. Obama what he should do. Today we want to hear some of those shoulds, and we want to hear from you. What one thing do you think the president should do as he enters the next phase of his presidency? Our number here in Washington is 800-989-8255. Our email address is talk@npr.org, and you can join the conversation at our website. That's npr.org. Click on Talk of the Nation. Later in the show, an argument that the president should push to get ROTC back on Ivy League campuses. But first, we're going to start with Boyce Watkins. He joins us from member station WAER in Syracuse. He's an assistant professor of finance at the university there. Welcome, Boyce Watkins.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to start with the open letter that you wrote to President Obama. This was more of a must-do than a should-do, and your argument was that President Obama must address black unemployment. Explain.
I think that what's going on right now is that with all the economic stress that our country's been facing, the president has certainly had a lot on his plate, and a lot of people who have an opinion on how he can best stimulate the economy. But one of the problems with the approaches that have been taken thus far is that our attention has been taken away from dealing with the persistent problem of economic inequality in America. As it stands, African American unemployment is typically about twice what white unemployment happens to be. And even with the recent reductions in unemployment, the gap in unemployment between whites and blacks continues to grow. And so the point that I wanted to make to the president, very respectfully, because I've always supported him, as do many members of the African American community, is that there's a difference between dealing with economic despair in our nation and dealing with economic inequality. And I think that we have to recognize that difference if we're going to move forward as a country.
You write pretty compellingly about some of the economic reasons to address black unemployment. Do you think for the White House there is also a political incentive to address the issue?
Well, based on my constituency, which would be the African American community, there's a huge incentive in the sense that African Americans are amongst the president's most steadfast supporters. The problem, though, is that when you support a politician almost to the point of falling in love with him, that can move you down to the bottom of that politician's priority list. And as a result, it's been incredibly rare that you've heard the words black man, black woman, or even poor people come out of the mouths of anyone in the Obama administration over the past year. And my argument is that we've got to somehow put a voice on black suffering. Not only were African Americans hit with the highest unemployment rates, the truth is that the unemployment rates in the black community are actually still going to be at the recession level that whites are experiencing now, even after the recession's over. So there's sort of an understanding amongst black people that we have to remain quiet in order to help Obama succeed. But I argue the opposite, that not only are we suffering, but we also have the lowest cushion of wealth to protect ourselves when we lose our jobs. So there's a lot going on that the president nor any member of Congress is really talking about.
Okay, we're speaking here with Boyce Watkins of Syracuse University, and let me draw a caller into the conversation. This is Jeff calling from Nevada City, California. Hey, Jeff.
Hi. Well, my comment is a little bit different, but as far as stimulating the economy, I would like to see fiber to the home. And I think if you got the fiber optics, that last mile to the home, you'd see internet speeds boost by a factor of well over 1,000, and you'd see countless new jobs and new services available over the internet that are not available today.
Let me ask you to respond to that, Boyce Watkins, and let me see if I can help square the circle between what our caller here is asking about in terms of fiber optics and the African American issue that we've been speaking about. Talk to me, Boyce Watkins, about the broadband divide. This is a big issue within the African American community.
Yeah, it is, and I see the digital divide as being a continuation of the broad educational divide, and effectively the holy trinity, if you will, of
Hey, welcome to One Time. Go ahead and order whenever you're ready.
Okay, let me get the number 3, the small order with no macaroni and a Mountain Dew.
Alright. And is that going to be all for you today?
Yeah, that's everything.
Alright, that'll be $7.50 at the window.
Oh, okay, thanks.